This video will be discussing the life of the extremely successful entrepreneur William Henry Gates, which began on October 28, 1995 in Seattle, Washington. Mr. Gates, now regarded as a genius by many, was always seen to be intellectually gifted. Even in his very early days of school, his grades were exemplary and his parents could tell he was a sharp child. Furthermore, Bill Gates loved reading. He would devour educational books for countless hours. And whilst his parents were happy to see him shining in the field of education, they recognized his behavior was somewhat antisocial and his interests were solely educational. They were afraid if not given the chance to interact with suitable company fast, he would become a loner. Keeping this in mind, his parents decided to shift him to Seattle Lakeside School, a solely preparatory school where his parents believed he would better fit in. Whilst Bill was studying at this lakeside school, a Seattle-based computer company offered the school the opportunity of providing computer time. The school agreed gladly, and soon after being introduced to the computer, Bill fell in love with the machine. Bill was captivated by a computer's capabilities and spent much of his free time fiddling around with computers and learning how to program. And it was in Lakeside School where Bill Gates met Paul Allen and they became friends based on their mutual love for computers. Although Bill and Allen were polar opposites, with Bill being aggressive and combative, and Allen being more of the quiet, shy type, the duo got along quite well. In fact, in 1970, at the age of only 15, they both went into business together. They actually did quite well, pulling in a notable $20,000 for an app that measures traffic volume. Filled with excitement after their first endeavor being such a success, Bill and Paul wanted to start a company together immediately. However, Bill's parents convinced him to finish college first, and so Bill gave SATs in 1973, scoring an impressive 1590 out of 1600, securing himself a place in the prestigious University of Harvard. So, for the time being, Paul Allen and Gates split, with Gates going on to pursue a degree in law. However, in college, Bill was rather distracted and spent most of his time in the computer lab anyways. Meanwhile, he kept in touch with his good friend Paul Allen, who after attending Washington University for 2 years, moved to Boston to work for a technology company, Honeywell. In the summer of 1974, Bill decided to go to Boston and also work at Honeywell with his fellow compatriot. During their time together, they both came across an interesting article in an electronics magazine discussing the production of a computer called Altair 8800. Bill and Allen were interested in knowing if MITS, the company that produced these computers, were keen on software for their machines. Bearing this in mind, they contacted the company, claiming they had been working on code to run the machines, when in reality they had nothing. Fortunately, the company was looking for such software, and their president Ed Roberts requested to see a demonstration of this software at work. Keen to meet the company's request, Bill and Allen worked tirelessly for the next 2 months to design software that could run on such a machine. Once the software was finally complete, Paul Allen went to MIT's headquarters in Albuquerque, Mexico to demonstrate the program they had been working on that just so happened to work perfectly. The company were really happy with the quality of product that had been brought to them and hired Paul Allen immediately. And Gates, unwilling to stay any longer in Harvard, against the decision of his parents, chose to take leave to work with Allen at MITS in 1975. Bill never actually came back to finish his studies, but the two did form and register a partnership called Microsoft in Mexico. After the company's initial success, the name Microsoft quickly became extremely popular amongst computer companies, and by 1980 Microsoft had struck deals with tech giants like IBM, and by 1981 the groundbreaking Microsoft Windows was invented.